Hello guys, welcome to Cloud Master Classes. My name is Lokesh Mahajan. I am certified Azure administrator. So let's get started. And I hope you have created your Azure account. And if not, then do watch our previous video. Link is given in the description box. In this video, you must require this Azure account. So the agenda for today is overview on Azure Virtual Machine, features of Azure Virtual Machine, how to create virtual machine on Azure, connecting your virtual machine, and then understanding the concept of image size and disk. So let's get started with the very important topic of Azure service called the Azure Virtual Machine. So where do you typically deploy your applications? Typically, you deploy them on servers. But when you want to deploy your application in the cloud, you would need virtual servers. And that's what Azure Virtual Machines help you to provision in Azure. Let's get started with Azure Virtual Machine. In corporate data centers, applications are deployed to physical servers. But in the cloud, we would rent virtual servers. Virtual machines are the virtual servers in Azure. Now, the question arises, how do you provision virtual machines? The service you would make use of is Azure Virtual Machines. Google calls it Compute Engine. AWS calls it EC2 or Elastic Compute Cloud. But Azure keeps it very simple. To provision virtual machine in Azure, you make use of Azure Virtual Machines. Now let's see what are the features provided by Azure Virtual Machine. So it helps you to create and manage the life cycle of your virtual machine instances. You can create, start, stop, restart, or terminate your virtual machine instances. You can also implement load balancing and auto scaling for multiple VM instances. If your application is deployed to multiple VM instances, you would want to have a load balancer to distribute the load between them, and you would also want to be able to do auto scaling. You did want to be able to increase the number of instances based on the load. If you have a lot of users using the application, then you would want to increase the number of instances. Otherwise, you would want to decrease the number of instances. Azure Virtual Machine also allows you to attach disk to your virtual machine instances. It also allows you to manage the network connectivity and configuration for your VM. So I hope now you have some clear picture on Azure virtual machines. So now without wasting any time, let's quickly jump to the demo session on how to create your own first virtual machine in Azure. So let's get started. You need to go to portal.azure.com and then you need to provide your registered user ID and password. After this, you would be able to log into Microsoft Azure. So whatever you are seeing here is called Azure Portal. There are a number of services present in Azure, as you can see here. You can click this icon present on the top left of the corner and you would be able to see a wide variety of services, as you can see here. Let's not really worry about all of them. For now, let's focus on virtual machines. So what you can do is either click on virtual machine or you can simply type here, search here, virtual machine and then directly click on this. And now what we are going to do is we are going to create a virtual machine. So I will go ahead and say add and select virtual machine. So we would want to add a virtual machine. So we will wait for the page to load and it's done. Now let's see what is involved in creating a virtual machine. So right now we are in a free trial, that is what is called subscription, and in a free trial subscription we would want to create a resource group. A virtual machine is a resource, a database is a resource. There might be a number of resources which are related to a single project or a single business unit. So we would like to group them in some way. So we would group them in resource group. So if you have a virtual machine, a database, and maybe a queue which is related to some project, You can create a resource group and you can pull all these resources under the same resource group. So here we will create a new resource group and we will name it compute RG, or let's say compute. The next thing that we need to configure is the virtual machine name. So we will give it a name test VM. It's already here. So the next thing is region. This is very important. I have already explained in our previous video. So here we will select what region we want to deploy our virtual machine. Either it is East US, West US, South Central, East US 2. There are a number of options depending on your choice. So for now, I am making it East US. We will keep default availability option in security type for now. I will explain you in later lectures. For now, let's go to image. Image is nothing but the operating system that we would be using. As you can see here, there are number of operating system that are provided by Azure. So I would be using the default operating system, but this is very important concept as each operating system comes with its own price. The next important decision we need to make is the size. How big should be your virtual machine? There are a wide variety of sizes which are present. Once you click the drop down, you can see all the sizes which are recommended here, and you can say that all the sizes which are present by Azure. You can click on see all sizes to check what are the sizes that are provided by Azure. As you can see, Azure provides a wide variety of sizes. For now, we will keep it default. So now there are three important choices that we have made. One is the region. Where do we want to run the virtual machine? Number two is image. What OS do you want to make use of? Number three is the size. What are the hardwares that you want to make use to run your virtual machine? Right now we are using standard D2S V3 with 2V CPUs and 8 GB memory. Now over here, if you further scroll down, you can choose what authentication method you want to use. What I recommend you to do is to use SSH public key. I will leave the username and key pair name as default. What I will do is to generate a new key pair. So I will generate a new key pair and let's have a key pair. If you scroll down further, you can see what are the inbound ports which are allowed and what are the ports on which I can access the virtual machine from outside. Right now you can see that it is SSH22. What I will do is I will click on the drop down and I will check HTTP 80. So later we will install a web application on specific virtual machine and therefore we would require HTTP. So now to access virtual machine, we can use port 22 and to access our web application, we can use port 80. So now we are all set to create our first virtual machine. What we will do is we will click on review and create to create our virtual machine. It will take some time. So as you can see here, all the validations are passed. My VM is almost created. I just need to click on create button, and once I click on create button, my VM would be created. There are other configurations that you can use to customize your VM, but for now we are just clicking on review and create. We will study each and everything in depth, but for now we will just click on create button. So I will click on create. So as you can see, I have downloaded the key. Here is my test VM key and my VM is creating. Deployment is in progress. So let's wait for some time and then it will finally deploy it. So here in the notification section also you can see deployment is in progress. It will take few minutes. So once the deployment is complete, we will show you how to connect with our virtual machine that we have created just now. So as you can see here, the message is showing your deployment is complete. Also in notification, it is saying deployment succeed, which means that we have successfully deployed our virtual machine on East US region. So now we have two options, either to go to resources or create another VM. So let's see now. So you can see I am right now in Montevideo, Uruguay, and within few minutes I am able to deploy a virtual machine to a location in East US. That's the power cloud provides you with. You can easily deploy your applications to multiple regions around the world. Now what I will do, here it is saying go to resources. This will take us to the virtual machine that we have created. The other option of getting to the virtual machine is just type here uh, test VM here. You can go there. There is one more option. You can here simply type virtual machines and it will take you to virtual machines that have been created. Here you can see our virtual machine is created. Just click on this and our virtual machine is open. So once you are in a virtual machine, you can perform many tasks like you can connect to it, you can restart it, stop it, capture, delete, refresh, and many other stuff. There are also other options here. And there is one thing that I want to show you is you can see here a public IP address. So this machine is assigned a public IP address, which is shown here. For now, we have a virtual machine running. What we want to do is to be able to SSH into it, to be able to connect to it and run a few commands against it. The way we can do that is by clicking on this connect button. So once you click on connect button, it will ask you how do you want to connect to your virtual machine. So the way we can connect to our virtual machine is by doing SSH. And here, as you can see, it is showing some details as how we can connect to SSH. So to connect through SSH, you first need command line. So you can just click on here. And as you can see, a bash shell has opened. This is an Azure Cloud Shell. It is provided by Azure, as you can see here. And we will run few commands here to connect to our virtual machine. This shell is called Cloud Shell and it is used to execute commands from command line. Here I am using command line because we want to do an SSH and one of the way to use SSH is through command line. Now, what we want to do is to able to SSH into the virtual machine, and to be able to SSH into virtual machine, we would need to have a private key. So do we have the private key with us? So the answer is yes, we have actually downloaded the private key earlier. So what do we need to first do is to upload the file from the download folder to Azure Cloud Shell. So how can we do that? We have to click on this icon. This is update or download file icon. So just click on this and you can see upload, download and manage file share option here. Here click on upload button. So here you can see test vm.key that we have downloaded. We will click on this and click on open. So what is going on is it is uploading to our destination. And here the notification you can see here it is showing complete. So now simply click here and type ls. So you can see here that we have our test file uploaded here, testvmkey.pem, pem, sorry. So ls command is used to list all the directories in our current directory. So here you can see that in our current directory we have these files. So that's why we have used ls command, and now we have to follow all the instructions that are given above to connect with our virtual machine. So it says that open the client of your choice, example putty or other client. So we have bash shell in Azure. Next, it is saying that ensure you have read-only access to the private key. So this is our private key, and we need to ensure that we have read-only access to this. So what I did is copied this command and replace the file name, and this command executed successfully. We can make sure by typing ls minus ltrh. So as you can see, we have only read permission to our file. So this would change the mode, and now I can use this private key to do SSH, and the command to be able to do that is present over here. I can just copy it. So I will copy it and paste it here. And now I will change the syntax here. Here I will give my path address. I will copy it and then paste it over here. And then I will give my file name, which is test VM underscore key dot pem. Okay, the spelling is, and then it is asking me whether I want to continue or not. So I will click, I will put yes. And now we are able to log in into our virtual machine. As you can see here, we have successfully logged into our virtual machine. So you can see it is showing our system load and usage and memory usage, everything here. So here I will type one command, who am I, and it is showing Azure user, which means that we are connected to our VM. We can also type host name, which will tell the machine host name, test VM, and we can do many other stuffs. So that's all for now. We have successfully created our virtual machine in Azure, and we have successfully connected with the virtual machine. In the next lecture, we will install some tools like MySQL and other stuffs. Till then, you can play around with it, and that's all for now. So thank you very much. And if you have any questions, you can directly ask in the comment section. Thank you.